So first fixture of round 1 was Parramatta Eels versus the Canterbury Bulldogs at Parramatta Stadium, a chock-a-block Parramatta Stadium in amongst all of the COVID crisis. How did you see the game there, Troy?
Wonderful game.
Wasn't it?
I loved it. I poo-pooed it last week. I said it was going to be a blockbuster, and I turned out to be completely wrong. Loved every minute of it. Both teams a little bit rusty, but some good attacking footy, some good defence.
A low-scoring game there for a while. Was it 2-2 for an hour or something?
I think it was, mainly due to Clinton Gutherson and his hopelessness.
I don't understand what the big fuss is about Clinton Gutherson.
Well, we're both on the same page there, and I was right about him saying that he sucks last week, so there, Clinton.
And the thing is when they won, he was carrying on at the end of the game. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa! Like they just won the grand final. You just beat the Dogs without two of their best players. So just calm down there, Clinton, and maybe just focus a little bit more on your own game, mate.
Oh, no, good on him for being enthusiastic, but I don't think the ability lives up to the hype. And all the commentators love him. Oh, King Gutho this and King Gutho that. Pfft. I thought Dallin was telling Zalesniak had a great game, and I thought... Remus Smith was my other standout. He had a fantastic game.
Tyron Smith's son?
Tyron's son. We'll get to that a little bit later. But my big talking point coming out of this game was Regan Campbell-Gillard. Now, I've never been a fan of the kid.
What's he done?
Everybody knows that. But he backs into the defence, and I'm sick of it. Now, Regan, I think a lot of them do it. Manly started it. Oh, well, they didn't start it, but they're good at it. They'll big bloody hit up and then back into the defence, and then sort of sit down to get the quick play the ball. But Regan's taken it to a new level. Now he tackles with his back. Go back and watch the game again, all you out there, and you too, Darren, and watch a couple of times Regan decided that he was going to come up for the big shoulder, or the old shoulder charge method, but then at the last minute he turns his back and goes, boof! Completely ineffective.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't notice that. I'm going to go back and watch it again.
Yes.
And if so, Regan Campbell-Gillard, you're a disgrace.
I agree wholeheartedly. Now, there was a couple of other things in this game. The Captain's Challenge, we saw that for the first time. What did you think of that?
I don't mind it. What I don't like is the commentators crapping on about how long it takes and everything like that, but we'll get to that later on.
Well, you watched the Channel 9 version, didn't you? I watched
did.
the Fox version. Nobody said a word about it, but apparently Joey Johns has got a bit of a problem with it.
He's got to be in his bonnet about it.
I thought it was okay. I think if it gets the decision correct in the end, then all well and good, but it does seem to take a bit too long.
What I loved about it is how stupid the captain's calls were. They were like, oh, is that a knock on or not? And there was front rowers going, challenge that, challenge that, challenge that, all game. And it's like, well, bloody hell, I think the first one in that game was a little knock on or something like that they got wrong anyway. So I think it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for these captains to work out which ones they're going to call on or not. But I like it. I think it's good. It's going to get the right decision.
And it's going to give us plenty to talk about through the season.
Yes.
The second game on Friday saw the lowly old Titans, poor old Titans, had to go down to GIO Stadium in Canberra to take on the Canberra Raiders. How did you see this one?
Well, I think the Raiders have picked up where they left off last year. I think they played a good brand of football, nice and actually a little bit patient for the Raiders. They weren't just trying to score off every play, and they got a couple of repeat sets, which we're not used to seeing.
Well, for the first little while they were. First 20 minutes they looked like world beaters, and then they kind of thought, I think they maybe put the cue in the rack and thought job's done, and sort of slackened off a little bit.
But I think the Titans came out a lot better in the second half. They must have got a rev up from Holbrook like nothing else, and I wonder if Ash Taylor got a rev up because he came out and he was hopeless in both halves.
He was. Him and Bryce Cartwright are a real problem for poor old Justin Holbrook up there on the Gold Coast. I just saw him on NRL 360, and he seems like an impressive sort of bloke. I like how he spoke about the place, but he did say that Ash Taylor they definitely need him and this and that, and he didn't show any signs of
they need him
out of the joint.
They need him to tackle. How many? He missed 2 tackles that led to tries.
Well, more than that, yeah. And he didn't kick, he didn't run, he didn't do anything.
And both of those players are taking up a fair chunk of their salary cap, so they're in all sorts of problems with those 2 blokes. Plus, looked like Ash Taylor hurt his shoulder from not tackling anyway. I don't know what he did to his shoulder. He must have hurt it from putting his arm up saying, no, not me, don't not mine, not my tackle.
The usual favourites from the Raiders were good. Jack Whiten had a great game. Josh Hodgson had a great game. George Williams, solid, if not spectacular.
Yeah, it was a pretty good debut, and I thought the Curtis Scott kitty was very good. If he can stay out of jail, he'll be a good inclusion for the Raiders this year, I think.
My standout for the Titans when he finally decided to have a go was Brian Kelly. I think he came on late, actually. That's probably why I didn't notice him for a while, but he came off the bench. He was the difference for the Titans in their little resurgence that they had. Mind you, their only try was a bit of luck.
Worrying signs for the Titans, in my opinion.
Well, we said that last week, didn't we?
We did.
We'll see what happens.
And the second game on Friday night was the Cowboys versus the Broncos up at that magnificent new stadium up there in Townsville. What an absolute belter. And it was good that, again, they had a very healthy crowd up there amid all of the crisis and all of the happenings that are going on. How did you see that game there, Troy?
I like that stadium. I like how it's open at the end. A big sweeping... Kevy Walters said that it was uniquely Townsville. I'm not sure what that means, but I presume that they left it open so he can fly bloody Kevy's private jet in so he doesn't have to get the bus from the
And so all the monsoonal rain can just come in and go whoosh and just rub out all of the cheap seats.
It's a great idea.
But yeah, it's a good stadium. I like all the lights that they have up around the lip of it and everything rather than those big light towers and everything. Similar thing to the Perth Stadium and to the Parramatta's
and Bank
new
West,
stadium
yeah.
as
Queensland Country Bank Stadium, I believe it's called.
It's a beaut. Anyway, how'd you see the game?
Well, the Cowboys didn't live up to my expectations. They got a star-studded roster. Val Holmes had a really good game. I thought he came back looking very good. You thought he was going to come back fat. He actually looked pretty fit.
Looked good.
Now, I've got a couple of problems with the Broncos. Number one, this is the one takeaway I got from this game, Darren. Payne Haas at some stage got into a ruck.
Melee.
No, it wasn't a melee.
Just a run-of-the-mill
Just
ruck.
a run-of-the-mill hit up. Got his jumper torn. I don't know if you all remember this, but it sort of went down, like, flapped down like that. Now, your old-fashioned rugby league player would have just bloody said, "Oh, ripped me bloody jumper," and just tucked it under and gone for another run. But you know what Payne did?
What did he do?
Now go back and watch this. As soon as this bloody thing, he got up, played the ball, looked down, his jumper's ripped, he just turned around to the sideline and started walking off. They had the bloody ball.
Geez, they're precious.
Oh, they make me want to spew.
These crop of young fellas, they're getting paid $1 million and they got some bloke on the sideline with spare jerseys for
all
them,
the talent in the
and
world.
Hold up all of the game, which we're going to talk about later. We're going to talk about all of these interruptions to the game. That should not be one of them. But I thought he played well. I thought that Fafita kid. Actually, the Broncos played a lot better than what I thought they were going to.
Maybe Seabold's finally. Maybe he's giving them everything they want and saying, "Boys, look, if you rip your jersey, just walk straight off. I don't care anymore. I'm sick of being a tough rugby league team. I want you to all be big bloody."
Yeah, he's
sooks.
a noted taskmaster, isn't he? Maybe he's just giving them free rein to be poochers. But I thought Croft was pretty good. I know you don't like the kid. I know you hate him, but I reckon he played very well.
He was all right. He was solid without being spectacular. He was George Williams-esque.
He played what was in front of him, I thought. He might have even gone off script a little bit there, Anthony. You might want to just check that out. Milford was hopeless as usual.
Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up. Now, this rule has been in effect for a number of years. I can't tell you exactly how long, but there was one instance where Corey Oates was stood on the sideline. Big bomb comes toward him. Corey's bloody going, "Oh, what'll I do here? I don't know if it's going to go out or not. It might land on the line or it might land just inside. Oh, Jesus, I'm a bit indecisive. I'll just let it bounce." And it goes boom, over the sideline.
No, it hit him.
Cowboys
bounced
ball.
into him and then went over.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Bounced
Now,
into his guts.
My problem with this is that there's a bloody rule that says you can stand on or out of the field of play, on the line or out of the field of play. All you got to do is touch the bloody thing. One little finger. Now, you know who knows this rule?
Oh, there's some real dumb fella knows this rule.
Blake Ferguson knows this rule and has demonstrated it quite a number of times. Now, if Blake Ferguson can get his head around this bloody rule, then Corey Oates should be able to do it too. Corey, next time, put your foot... You can even go... You can go like that!
And it's a dumb rule as it is.
That's stupid, but bloody use it, you idiots! Oh my God! You
might have cost the Broncos the game if you hadn't won it.
If I was a winger, that's all I'd be doing. I'd have big bloody stilts on, with my socks pulled up over the big
Well, there's
bloody
a good
long
thing.
socks.
Could you go back to the 1980s studs that
You
they used
could.
to have? They were about this long and you screwed them in.
Now you're talking.
Yeah, there
Bloody,
you go.
yeah, bloody 18
Having that long.
inch, 18-inch studs with stilts and big bloody socks pulled up so the ref couldn't come over and go, mate, are you wearing stilts?
No, well, there you go. You could have the bloke on the sideline that's got the fresh jersey for you. He could also have a pair of boots. So when they're kicking up the bomb, he's like, quick, come over here, and then put the boots on, and then do your huge big thing. And
Now
there you
we're
go.
talking,
Problem
see?
solved. So if this can get in the hands of the Broncos, maybe that can help them train this week.
Saturday afternoon, the poor old Warriors had to come over from Aotearoa and go up to McDonald Jones Stadium in Newcastle and get flogged in the rain by the lowly old Knights. Now, admittedly, I didn't watch much of this game because it just bored the pants off me. So all I took out of it really was that Newcastle weren't that great, but the Warriors were bloody awful. And it looks like you were right last week, Darren, and they are spoon candidates.
Yeah, I did pick it. Poor old Wazzers. They don't have much. Fancy getting beaten by Newcastle in round one. So the less we say about this game, the better. The second game on Saturday was the South Sydney Rabbitohs versus the Cronulla Sharks out at Homebush, a fairly empty Homebush stadium. I don't think that'll matter too much when they lock all the crowds out with those home games. How'd you see that one?
Pretty exciting game this, really. South's got out to a 22-8 lead, and Cronulla came storming back late with a couple of very nice passes to young Katoa on the wing. Wasn't that a great rule that Vossi invented by getting rid of the corner post and to let these blokes do what they do now with the big leaps over the
The finishing of these young wingers is unbelievable. His whole body was out and he just puts it in. Beautiful work.
There's a couple of standout performers in this game. Ethan Lowe came back from the dead. He was dead last week, as far as we were informed. He was already in funeral arrangements being made, but he came out and had a great game, scored a try, set one up too. Latrell Mitchell lasted about 15 to 20 seconds before he got knocked up and had to come off.
Yeah, I think I saw him miss it. I didn't miss a tackle. He's just a bit ineffectual, I think, at the back there at the moment. He's got a bit of work to do, old Lats. We can call him Lats here. Sean Johnson. How's Sean Johnson? He's kind of like evergreen Sean Johnson's like in that Benji Marshall kind of mould. Just keeps getting better and better as he gets older until he gets injured.
Well, yeah, and until everything's on the line, and then he kind of can turn it up a little bit. But he had a great game as well. But more on Benji a bit later. Saturday night, the Roosters travelled out to Penrith to take on the Panthers at, what's it called now? Penrith Park. And how'd you see this one?
I didn't know that. Well, the reigning premiers got done by potential wooden spooners, Panthers, but the Panthers look good, I think. The kitty, what's his name, Coruscant.
Happy had a great game. Him and Jerome Luai. Very good player. They had great games.
Where did the Roosters go?
Well, the Roosters just seem to... I know their plan last year and the year before and forever, I suppose, has just been to bash it up the guts and give it to their $1.8 million halfback to orchestrate things. But I think they're lacking severely this year. Kyle Flanagan doesn't seem to be up to the job. Well, not at this stage anyway. He's very indecisive and he can't get goals to save his bloody life. 61%er he is, and they've just slotted him. So there you go, mate. And the other thing that seemed to disadvantage him was he seemed to be wearing desert boots.
He did. And so no Latrell Mitchell there to kick any goals this year, so they might have a problem with I remember him at the Sharks. I think he was a terrible goal kicker, and so they've just given him the job.
Well, he hasn't had many games to prove himself, but geez, he looked crook, and he takes 4 or 5 minutes to kick the bloody thing. Meanwhile, the clock's ticking down. There's 10% of your game gone because Kyle's about to miss one from in front.
And then the Panthers are just standing behind the goalpost, just taking it in, just getting their energy levels back up.
Do they do the Warrior thing, do they?
No, I don't know. I just picture a battery going back up like that.
The other thing that I took particular notice of in this game was the Roosters, Trent Robinson's legacy to the game, giving away deliberate penalties in your own 20 metres.
I saw that.
They've got to rub this shit out because it's just infuriating. You know, every single time if the Roosters are at least 2 in front, they're just going to give away a penalty. It doesn't matter. Now, the Panthers could have kicked by my count, which admittedly may be a little off, but 4 times they could have kicked goals. They took it once. That's the way to rub it out. I've decided. Every time the Roosters give away, and it's not just the Roosters, but they invented it, so I'm picking on them. Every time they give away a deliberate penalty in the 20-metre zone, just kick the bloody goal, say, righto, if you want to keep doing it.
Yeah, we'll just score it. We'll just beat you 2 points at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get the ball back so you can bash it up the guts again, wear them out. That seems to be the way to do it.
The Panthers look like they got a bit of firepower this year. I thought Cleary was good too. He's putting some of their big blokes through holes.
You know what I think? Now, this is controversial. Isaiah Yeo, top 3 back rowers in the comp.
I agree. Great player. First game on Sunday saw the Eagles hosting the Storm at Brookvale, and keeping up with tradition, Melbourne won.
Last 37 seasons since Cameron Smythe debuted, they haven't lost the first round. Is that right?
When's Cameron going to shave his hair? When's he going to give it up? When's he going to give it up? Come on, Cameron.
Christ.
We're going to make a GoFundMe here, and we're going to all chip in 5 cents or so. Buy Cameron's wife a new diamond ring if you shave your hair off, Cameron.
You know they've got to get to go out and talk to him?
Terry Campese.
Terry Campese. Terry had cat's hair for a lot of years, and they finally convinced him, and he looked 100,000,000% better.
Oh, he looked
and
tremendous.
he started playing better. Now imagine if Cameron shaved it all off and just started playing a little bit better.
Scary
the Storm
prospect.
would be the premiers for sure. Now this game was bloody horrible. I hated every single second of it, Darren. I hated it. And you know why? Because the referees won't do their bloody job. Now, the referee, Green Atkins, in the Para Bulldogs game, the first game, was absolutely wonderful referee. I can't remember who refed with him, but he was good too. They just let Melbourne do whatever they want. And then the flow-on effect is that, we're letting Melbourne bloody lie all over the joint for 15 seconds per ruck. We better let the other team do it too, and it just ruins the whole game.
Well, I took special notice of Jake Trbojevic. He gets more time in the ruck than any other player in the game.
Except for the entire Melbourne Storm team.
I'm telling you, he was even worse. But he was only one player. But there's 13 of the Melbourne blokes that get away with it every ruck. So it was only every tackle that Jake Trbojevic was in, which admittedly was a few, because I thought he had a good game, Jake. And it's the first game I've ever seen him where I've actually liked him.
And I'm pretty sure that Bellamy's come up with a new tactic in the ruck. There's something going on, and I couldn't quite... I had limited time over the weekend to really get down to the nitty-gritty and get the bloody... What's the thing called that the photographers use? The loop?
Yeah.
Get the loop out and really study this bullshit, because he's doing something. He's up to something, Darren, and I'm going to find out what.
I noticed it, and it might have been happening his whole career, but as Cameron Smith's tackling blokes, he's talking to the refs as he's actually going down to them.
Oh, yeah, they all do that.
He's been doing that for a while. But
no, there's a technique, though. There's a new technique. There's something about... there's. I'll watch it. I'll get back to you next week on this. There's going to be a bloody expose.
And to cap off round 1 was our match of the week. And that was St George Illawarra versus the West's Tigers at St George. And what a absolute beauty. It had everything, didn't it? It had bomb tries, it had big tackles, it had Benji magic, it had everything.
Oh, absolute belter of a game. I loved every minute of it. There was so much stupidity. I've never seen anything like it.
Well, I've got to stop you there. While we're talking about low IQs on footballers, now I'm not going to name names.
Yes, you are. Of course you're going to name names.
I'm not going to name names, but is B. Hunt... let's call him Benny H. Is he the dumbest footballer you've ever seen?
Oh, I don't think he's the dumbest, but...
I think he's the dumbest footballer, and I've seen some pretty dumb footballers.
He just had it was a horror show yesterday. Jesus Christ. I'll tell you what.
It's like if there was a decision to be made, there's the right one, there's the wrong one. Poor old Benny H. Every time.
His kicking game's just... it's horrible. I mean, horrible. Now, Mary... Remember last week how I suggested that you head off to RLU, that's Rugby League University at Bagabag Island, in the Bismarck Sea? Well, the syllabus includes a section on the principle... Oh, look, I've opened right bloody to it. How about that? The principles of attack and defence. Now, in the principles of attack and defence section in the course manual, there is a section here, how to press the fucking ball into the grass. Now, I would be, if I was Mary, I would be printing this out in big block, like one A4 per letter, and just plastering it all over.
When the ball's rolling around like that, the idea is to go bang it into
That's
the
all
ground,
you got to
fellas.
do, boys. You just got to put your bloody hands on it. Look at like that. Yeah. You could practice at home even. You could just get a pillow or whatever you wanted, like a watermelon. Your kids' heads, just when they're lying on the lounge, just go past and go poof, poof. That's all you got to do.
I don't think I've ever seen so many bomb tries. At my count, there was 9 bomb tries, and that was just
What was so good about it. I could watch it all day. I loved it. I love it. Don't get me wrong.
I love it because I sit there and I go, is it a try? Isn't it a try? Is it? Isn't it? Oh, Ben Hunt was involved. No, it's not a try. Bert, no try. We're going to go to the board. We've had forward momentum off the fingers and they haven't pressed the ball to the grass. Made a decision, sending it downstairs. No try, says referee Maxwell up in the box.
Now, how about Benji? Just put on an absolute clinic. Even
Masterclass.
Even on the NRL 360 show, they have the best player of the round or whatever. Now, if a Canberra player gets nominated for this award, they always win it because the Canberra fans are the only ones who give a shit. They're all like, "Oh, I think bloody that bloke, Canberra never get any recognition. I better bloody vote for him because
The poor Cousins.
Yeah, national recognition on bloody national TV. Well, this week Benji won it, and he was up against Jack Whiten.
Oh, really?
And by a big margin, and deservedly so. Oh, Benji just wound back the clock. Oh my God.
We love that when that happens.
But he didn't exactly wind it back like he wasn't the Benji of old with the flick passes and the bloody carry on, but he just controlled things like an absolute magician.
Yeah, and then you got that, what's that little bloke at the back? Thompson.
Corey Thompson
had an absolute shocker, and then he came back out and he improved.
Well, he's a goer, isn't he? He's a
and
trier.
I like that, who's that front rower? Aloy, yeah, I like
Josh
that
Aloy,
kid.
he's
Yeah, nice and raw and nice and tough. I like that fella as well.
Oh, they were all good.
I think there's a lot to like about the West Tigers, and how about the Luciano and Leilua?
Wonderful.
I thought Luciano outplayed his brother. Like his brother's like the star, and like, oh, I'm just amazed he's never played Origin or first.
I've said it from day one. Luciano's a better footy player than BJ. I've said
Well.
it. I've bloody said it, Darren. I've said it to everyone who'll bloody listen. Now, the only thing that's got to happen now is BJ's got to get a little perm like Luciano's got. Yeah, and then shave up the sides. Then you won't be able to tell them apart because they're both fat as fools. But Luciano had a fantastic game.
Except he doesn't know how to press the bloody ball into the ground.
None of them do. They've got to go to bloody RLU.
So, Madge, you better go with Mary. Both of you holding hands now with the virus, but maybe you can link arms like that.
I'll tell you what,
can walk into the university together and both learn how to press a ball into the ground.
It's a good course to take. It's really bloody. It's very, very beneficial.
Is it affordable?
Oh, 100% affordable.
Is it? It's
and
free.
by 100% affordable, I mean free.
Beautiful.
Now, just one other thing. There was a Young Dragons kitty that I can't quite. Just 1 second. I've got it written down here, but I don't know how to pronounce it. Fuimane. Well, I can't remember. Anyway, he had a great game. Really good game. Tyson Frizzell.
Oh, yeah, he's the winger.
Yeah. He was the only one I would have fed. The Mary, when they got back in and they started doling out the bloody Kit Kats and the Whiz Fizzes and the juice boxes, I would have said, "You blokes go and sit in the bloody shower. I'm only feeding this bloke here." And then Mary's head would have got all red and bloody steam coming over. Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't give away all these bloody Whiz Fizzes to the bloody team. I'm only giving you one. No. Get out of here, blokes!
I would have said, you get a feed, Vaughnie, you get a feed. Now the rest of you fuck off, and Ben Hunt, you go down and buy him the feeds, because you're fucking hopeless.